Hoo-ah! They did it. They actually did it. 20 of them. 20 Republicans. They looked the Don in the eye, and they said no. They said not today. They said we are done with the orders. We are done with the bossing around. They crossed the line. They crossed the aisle, and they stuck a knife right in the heart of the Union busting machine. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. But I saw it. I saw the vote. 231 to 195, a discharge petition, a maneuver, a sneak attack in the broad daylight. They came out of the shadows, and they took down the king's order. This is it. This is the moment the cracks show. This is the moment the dam breaks. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I am your host, Al Pacino. You better subscribe right now. You hear me? Hit that button. Smash it. Don't make me come over there and show you how to do it. I want you in the family. I want you part of this operation. We are building an army here. So hit the bell. Hit the like. Do it now before I lose my temper.
Let me tell you something about loyalty. Loyalty is everything. But what happens when the family turns on you? What happens when the soldiers say enough is enough? That is what we saw on Thursday, December 11th, 2025. Mark it on the calendar. Put a circle around it in red ink, because 20 House Republicans just walked into the chamber and they committed mutiny, pure, unadulterated mutiny against the President of the United States. And what were they fighting for? The little guy, the worker, the guy who wakes up at 6 in the morning and busts his hump for the government, the guy who sorts the mail, the nurse at the VA, the civilian fixing the tanks at the depot. Trump tried to strip them naked. He tried to take away their voice. He signed that paper in March, that executive order. He said national security. He said efficiency. But we know what it was. It was a hit. It was a hit on the unions. It was a hit on collective bargaining. He wanted to fire them like that. Snap of the fingers. No questions asked. No due process. No nothing. He wanted to turn the federal government into his own private business, where if you look at him wrong, you're gone. And for months, the GOP leadership sat there and nodded. Johnson, the speaker, he sat there and he said, "Yes, sir, Mr. President. Whatever you say, Mr. President." They buried the bill to stop it. They buried it deep. They thought it was dead. They thought the workers were dead. But they forgot one thing. You can't bury the will of the people forever, and you can't bury a discharge petition if you got the numbers. And that is the beauty of it. The discharge petition. It's rare. It's like finding a diamond in a sewer. It never happens. You need 218 signatures. You need a majority of the whole House to say, "To hell with the Speaker. To hell with the leadership. We are bringing this to the floor right now." And usually the majority party holds the line. Usually the Republicans would rather cut off their own arms than sign a paper with the Democrats. But not this time. Not this time. Jared Golden, the Democrat from Maine, he started it. He put the paper down. He said, "Who's with me?" And at first it was quiet, just the Democrats. But then the whispers started, the grumbling in the cloakroom, the Republicans looking at their polls, looking at their districts, looking at the angry faces of the federal workers back home, and one by one, they started to break. Brian Fitzpatrick, the Republican from Pennsylvania, he stepped up. He said, "I'm in." He said, "This isn't about red or blue. This is about dignity. This is about treating people like human beings." And once he went, the others followed. Mike Lawler from New York, he jumped the fence. Don Bacon, Rep's Jeff Van Drew, even Van Drew, who loves Trump, even he said, "I got union people in Jersey. I can't do this to them." And boom! They got the signatures. They forced the vote. They dragged Mike Johnson kicking and screaming to the floor. And they passed it, the Protect America's Workforce Act, nullifying the president's order, tearing it up like a bad contract. Now you gotta understand the scale of this. We are talking about 600,000 workers. 600,000. That is an army. These are the people at the Department of Defense, the Department of Veterans Affairs. Trump said they were a national security risk if they had a union. Can you believe that? A nurse at the VA is a security risk because she wants to negotiate for better hours. A guy fixing a Jeep is a risk because he wants to make sure he doesn't get fired for no reason. It's an insult. It's a slap in the face. And these 20 Republicans, they saw the writing on the wall. They saw that Trump is pushing too hard. He's pushing too fast. He's squeezing the life out of the government, and people are getting scared. They are getting nervous. They look at the polls, and they see the anger. They see the protests. You got protests in Indiana. You got protests in the streets. And they said, I gotta save my own skin. That's what politicians do. They are survivors.
Like cockroaches, when the light comes on, they scatter. And right now, the light is on Donald Trump's anti-union crusade, and the cockroaches are running for the exits.
But let's look deeper. Let's look at the psychology of this. Why now? Why December 2025? Why wait this long? Because Trump is vulnerable. That's why. You smell the blood in the water. He's been in the second term for almost a year now. And what do we have? Chaos, lawsuits, the courts are tied up, the unions are suing, the states are suing, and the Republicans in Congress are tired. They are exhausted. They are tired of carrying the water for a man who doesn't care if they drown. They are tired of the phone calls. They are tired of the threats. You saw what happened in Indiana. Trump tried to bully the state Senate on redistricting, and they told him to take a hike. They voted him down. And now this, the House of Representatives, the People's House. They just gave him a black eye, a shiner, a real beauty. And it wasn't just the usual suspects. It wasn't just the moderate squishes. You had guys who usually fall in line.
But when you mess with a man's livelihood, when you mess with his ability to feed his kids, you cross a line that even a Republican can't ignore. Fitzpatrick stood there on the floor and he gave a speech. He said, reinstating these rights is not a concession, it is a commitment. Hooah! That's a line! That's a speech! He sounded like he believed it, and maybe he does. Or maybe he's just looking at the election map for 2026 and he's sweating bullets. Maybe he knows that if he votes against the unions in Pennsylvania, he's toast, he's history, he's sleeping with the fishes. But whatever the reason, the result is the same. A bipartisan rebuke, a slap in the face, a message sent loud and clear to the White House. We are not your rubber stamp. We are not your puppets. We are the Congress of the United States, and we have the power. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Al, calm down. It's just the House. The Senate will kill it. And you're right. You're absolutely right. The Senate is the kill floor. The Senate is where good bills go to die. You got the Republicans holding the gavel there. You think they're going to bring this up for a vote? You think they're going to let this pass? No. They're going to bury it. They're going to strangle it in the crib. They're going to let it collect dust on the shelf until the end of time. But that's not the point. The point is the message. The point is the fracture. The point is that the monolithic block of the GOP is crumbling. You got hairline fractures in the foundation. And when you get fractures, eventually the whole building comes down. Trump is sitting in the White House right now, and he is fuming. He is steaming. You know he is throwing the ketchup at the wall. He is screaming at the TV. Who are these traitors? Who are these rhinos? He's gonna make the list. He's gonna tweet. He's gonna threaten. But here's the thing about threats. They only work if people are afraid. And right now it looks like the fear is fading. It looks like these 20 Republicans looked at the monster and realized he's just a man. He's just a man with a pen, and a pen can be broken. A pen can be overruled. Think about the timing. We just had the government shutdown scare back in October. We had the continuing resolution fights. The federal workers have been through hell. They've been furloughed. They've been threatened. They've been used as pawns on a chessboard, and they are sick of it. And the unions, AFG, the AFL-CIO, they have been mobilizing. They have been knocking on doors. They have been making the phone calls. They put the pressure on. They squeezed these congressmen. They said, you want our vote? You want our support? Then protect our jobs. It's old school politics. It's leverage. You push me, I push you. And the unions pushed back hard. They called this the single largest act of union busting in American history. That's what they called Trump's order. And they're right. It was a massacre. He tried to gut the civil service. He tried to bring back the spoils system. He wanted to fire the professionals and hire the loyalists. He wanted yes men in every cubicle from the Pentagon to the Park Service. And these 20 Republicans said, whoa, hold on, that's too much, that's too far. And let's talk about the Democrats for a second. Look at them. They actually organized. They actually got their act together. Hakeem Jeffries, he held the caucus together. He got every single Democrat to sign that petition. That's herding cats, folks. That's not easy. But he did it. And then he reached across the aisle and he found the weak spots. He found the Republicans who were wobbling, and he pulled them over. It's a masterclass in legislative tactics. It's the kind of thing you don't see anymore. We're used to gridlock. We're used to shouting matches. But this was surgery. This was precise. This was a maneuver. They bypassed the speaker. Think about how embarrassing that is for Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, the man with the gavel. And he couldn't stop it. He couldn't hold his own conference. He lost control of the floor. That is weak. That is feeble. That is a man who is not in charge. The inmates are running the asylum. And in this case, the inmates decided to do something good. They decided to save the workers. But don't think for a second this war is over. Oh no, this is just the opening skirmish. This is just the first round. Trump is going to strike back. He's going to come down hard on these 20 defectors. He's going to primary them. He's going to cut their funding. He's going to go to their districts and hold rallies and call them names. He's going to call them socialists. He's going to call them globalists. He's going to call them everything in the book. And we gotta see if they hold the line. We gotta see if they buckle, because it's easy to vote yes when you're in the safety of the chamber. It's a lot harder when the MAGA train comes rolling into your town looking for blood. Can Fitzpatrick survive? Can Lawler survive? Can Bacon survive? They are walking through the fire now. They stepped into the ring with the heavyweight champ, and you don't step into the ring unless you're ready to get hit. And what about the courts? The unions are still suing. The appeals court said the order could go ahead while the lawsuit plays out. That's why this bill was so important. Because the courts are slow. The courts are dragging their feet. The judges are looking at precedents. The workers needed action now. They needed a shield now. And the House gave it to them. Even if it dies in the Senate, it gives the lawyers ammo. It tells the judges, hey, look, Congress disagrees with the president. The legislative branch says this is wrong. That matters. That carries weight. It's constitutional hardball. Article 1 versus Article 2. The Congress versus the King. It's the battle our founding fathers wrote about. It's the checks and balances. And for a long time, the checks have been bouncing. But finally the check cleared. I look at this and I see hope. I see a glimmer of sanity. I see a moment where principles mattered more than party. Where the rights of the worker mattered more than the ego of the leader. It's beautiful. It brings a tear to my eye. It makes me want to sing. It makes me want to dance, but I won't dance. I'll just rant, because that's what I do. I'm here to tell you the truth, and the truth is, the GOP is in trouble. The truth is, Trump is losing his grip. The truth is, the people are waking up. You can't push people around forever. You can't take away their rights and expect them to say thank you. Eventually, they push back. Eventually, they rise up. Eventually, they find 20 people with a conscience to stand with them. So watch the Senate. Watch McConnell. Watch Thune. Watch whoever is running the show over there. Watch them squirm. Watch them try to ignore this. But they can't ignore it. It's on the record. It's in the books. 231 to 195. The day the House said no. The day the workers won around. The day the invincible man looked vulnerable. This is history, folks. You are watching it live. You are living through it. Don't blink. Don't look away, because it's going to get uglier before it gets better. But for today, for this one moment, let's give credit where credit is due. Let's applaud the 20 who crossed the line, the 20 who shocked the world, the 20 who remembered that they work for the people, not the president. Hoo-ah! I love it! It keeps me young. It keeps the blood pumping. Now get out of here. Go subscribe. Go share this video. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Tell everybody. Al Pacino sent you. And I'm watching you. I'm always watching. Until next time, keep your head down and your eyes open. Peace!